Hello, my lovelies. It's Susanna, and today I want to show you how to complete number series that are often a part of assessment tests. Let's start with our first example. What is the next number in the following sequence? If we take a look at our sequence, we have to check how to get from one number to the next and see if there is a pattern there. We can use addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and if all these don't work, we can also think about taking the square root or squaring numbers. And if all of that also doesn't work, we can think about special numbers like prime numbers or square numbers or also the Fibonacci numbers. But I like to start with multiplication and division first because there are less possibilities, and I check how can I get from the 3 to the 9 by a multiplication. I can multiply the 3 by 3 to get to 9. Okay, then I go to my next numbers here and check, can I get in an easy way from the 9 to the 2 by multiplying or by a division. I mean, the number gets smaller, so we have to divide, but there is no easy number to divide the 9 by this number to get to 2, so I just leave this out and go to the next numbers. Here, again, I can multiply by 3, which is great because things repeat. It's great for a pattern. What about this here? I can divide the 6 by -6 to get to -1. Here again, I can multiply by 3, which is awesome. And here is no easy multiplication or division, so I leave it out. Okay, if I take a look at this, I have times 3 here, times 3 here, times 3 here. Okay, in between I have this weird divided by -6. It doesn't really fit to my pattern, so I erase it. I don't like it. And I check plus and minus now with the rest of the numbers. So how do I get from the 9 to the 2 with plus or minus? Well, I have to subtract 7 to get there. And then here, how to get from the 6 to the -1, I have to subtract 7. Great, a pattern. Is it the same here? Yes, I have to subtract 7 again to get here, so my pattern is perfect now. Times 3 minus 7, times 3 minus 7, and so on. So I have times 3 here at the end. -10 times 3 equals -30, and this is my result. Number 2. What is the next number here? Well, we can start with the multiplication and division again. But this time, if we take a look at the numbers, it's not so easy to get from one number to the next with a multiplication or division. So we can try plus and minus instead. To get from the 36 to the 25, we have to subtract 11. Here, subtract 9, we subtract 7, and here we have to subtract 5. So is there a pattern? -11. -9, -7, -5, these are all odd numbers. So the next odd number would be -3, and we have 4 minus 3, which equals 1. This would be a pattern that works, but there is actually another pattern or another explanation in here, because if we take a look at the numbers, these are all square numbers, right? 36 is 6 squared, 5 squared, 4 squared, 3 squared, 2 squared, and then we would have 1 squared, which also equals 1. So usually there are more than just one explanation or more than one pattern how to get to a result. And sometimes the results are also different. So this is a good case that we have found 2 ways to get to the same result. Number 3. Okay, we check multiplication and division first. This time we can divide the 12 by 2 to get to the 6. Here we can multiply by 2. Here, no multiplication or division possible, no easy one possible. Here we have times 2 again, which is great. And here, it's not really possible. So we have times 2 here and times 2 here. The divided by 2 doesn't really make sense by its own, so I just delete it. And we check the rest of the numbers with plus and minus. 12 minus 6 equals 6. Here, 12 minus 5 equals 7. And here we have to subtract 4. Oh, we have a pattern. Can you see it? Minus 6, minus 5, minus 4. But the next red thing would be multiplied by 2. So 10 times 2 would be 20. And this is the next number. Okay, what about here? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. Let's check multiplication and division, but the numbers don't work with that. We can check plus and minus next then. So we have plus 1, plus 2. Okay, looks good so far. Then we have a plus 2 again. Here we have a plus 4 and a plus 2. No, this is no pattern at all in here. But do you know these numbers? 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, 13. These are the first prime numbers. So the next prime number would be the 17. And this would be an explanation with special numbers if the basic operations don't work. Last example. We start with multiplication and division first again. But if I take a look at these numbers, there is no easy connection in here with that, so let's try plus and minus then. Okay, here we would add 1, we add 4, we add 6, we add 14, so this is pretty wild here as well. I don't see an easy pattern. If that is the case, what you can also check is if there is a connection between these numbers. So you skip one in between and you only take a look at these numbers then. But also here, there is no easy connection, but it would be a way what to do if the basic operations don't work. But another thing what you can do is check if you can mix the basic operations. So is it a mix maybe between a multiplication and an addition to get from the 7 to the 13? Because at the beginning I thought, ooh, this number here is pretty close at the 14 where I could get if I multiply my 7 by 2. I would get to 14, but I want to be at 13. So I just mix operations, not a plus, but a minus this time. I have 7 times 2, which gives me 14, but I have to subtract 1 to go to the 13. Let's see if this is the case here as well, because I also thought, if I multiply the 13 by 2, I would get to 26. Pretty close at the 27. Not quite the same, but I can mix the operations, and this time it would be a plus 1 that I have to add to get to the 27 then. So I have times 2 minus 1 times 2 plus 1. What about the others here? Yeah, seems to work. If I multiply by 2, I get to 6, but I want to be at the 7, so I add a 1. And here, the same. If I multiply the 2 by 2, I get to 4, but I want to be at the 3, so I have to subtract 1. I have a pattern. Times 2 minus 1, times 2 plus 1, times 2 minus 1, times 2 plus 1. So guess what we have here? Times 2 minus 1 then. 27 times 2 equals 54. I have to subtract 1, so my next number is a 53. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. It really helps me a lot. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you in one of my next videos. Take care!